Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to check out some of the repeatedly commonly asked essay questions from CMA USA Part 1. Mind you, this is not going to be the exact question that you will get in your window when you're going to attend the exam. But from past 1 year, I have taken feedback from a lot of students, my students as well. So they have said these questions have been repeatedly coming. That doesn't mean that this question will come for your exam. Mind you, you have to study everything as a student. You have to go through all the topics. You have to study everything and be confident because you never know what is going to come up. But for your preparation, I think this video may help you, but doesn't mean that you can only rely on this video for your preparation. And mind you, for attending the essay part, you have to first complete the MCQ part. If you don't get more than 50% in MCQ, you won't be able to sit for the essay session as well. And one more thing I have to clarify, my English is not so fluent. I'm doing this in English because I hope this video could reach more people. You know that this is a Malayalam channel, so hope you understood my English limitations and don't waste time, just get into it. One of the most repeatedly asked questions is calculating operating income under absorption costing and variable costing. Mind you, both kind of questions could usually come. Calculate operating income under absorption costing as well as variable costing. And there could be some other questions like what is the advantage of doing absorption costing? What is the disadvantage of doing absorption costing? Those kind of questions are also have been asked in the exams in the previous sessions. So it's a very important thing. You have to know how to calculate operating income under absorption costing and how to calculate income under variable costing and what is the main difference between both these things. Okay, so that is one of the highly repeated probable question that could come for your exams. Then another question that could be asked is the impairment calculation. That is from, I think, section A, part 1, section A. And the reversal difference, impairment reversal difference in IFRS and US GAAP. So there is obviously couple of different, not couple of, there are more than couple of differences in IFRS and US GAAP. So this kind of questions will also be expected. So you have to know what is the main difference between IFRS and GAAP regarding the impairment calculation and reversal also. So this is highly repeated question. So it's very important that you should go through these questions and these topics very carefully. Then there could be questions like what kind of lease on the basis of scenarios, what kind of lease is mentioned. There could be operating lease, there could be financial lease. So you should know what is operating lease, what is financial lease, what is the difference between these kind of leases. So how can you classify a certain lease as financial lease or as operating lease? So you should be very well versed with all these types of leases and these features. Then there could be questions regarding lease liability calculation. Next is implementation of new internal control. There could be questions from internal control as well, because internal control is one of the important topics in part 1. There could be questions like segregation of duties or cost of framework, which internal control is the best one, access controls, physical controls, logical controls, those kind of questions will be there. And there could be questions like how to check the efficiency of the internal control. Is there any lack of efficiency with the current control system? How can we substitute with something that is much more stronger? Those kind of questions could come, but specifically it could be based on certain scenarios, mind you. There could be direct questions also, but the type of internal controls could be based on scenarios. So anyway, you have to study internal controls very good. That's one of the most important topics. Then best visualization method as per scenario. Visualization is based on section F, data analytics. We have multiple visualization tools, a bar chart, pie chart, dot plot, flow charts, radar chart, box plotter, then dashboards, scatter plots, line charts. So many visualization tools are there. So based on the scenarios, what are the things that are given on the number of variables? Based on the variables, you can select the best visualization tools. If it wants to show something like a correlation or relationship between two variables, then scatter plot is the best option. If you want to show data over the years, the trend, the pattern, the seasonality, the cyclicality, then line chart is the best one. If you want to show a summary of key performance indicators, then obviously dashboard is the best one. If you want to show a comparison of anything, comparison of your store performance, comparison of your profitability of different branches, then pie chart is the best one. So based on the scenario, you can select which is the most suitable one. If you want to show 3 variables, then a relationship between 3 variables, then bubble chart is the best one, bubble charts. So that is based on section F. Then again, based on section F, clustering, the predictive analytics, types of predictive analytics. There is clustering, classification, generalization. A lot of points are there. If you're following Hawk material, you can actually see this topics there. I don't think it is presented in other materials. I haven't seen it in Gleim or Wiley. It's in Hawk types of predictive analytics. Clustering is important. Clustering and classification is two extremes, two different items. So if you want to know more about clustering, I have already uploaded a video for section of in my channel. You can check it out. You can see the detailed video, clustering, classification, generalization, affinity analysis, everything is there. So please check it out. So there could be question coming from predictive analytics also when its importance is also asked. So when IMA asks importance, advantages, disadvantages in essay question, you don't have to write it very elaborately. You can write it very crisp and short with the accurate points. Okay. Then another repeated question is what is return on investment and its importance? Return on investment. What is return on investment? It's a basic thing. Anyone who's studying a financial paper know what is return on investment. Even if you don't study CMA or any commerce subjects, still know what is return on investment. So there could be questions for defining ROI and what are the advantages, what are the importance. So I'm just giving some importance here. I'm not going to explain it. I will share the PDF if you want. Just ask in the comments. I can share the PDF. Then what are other methods or other performance evaluation tool other than return on investment? So this is, I think, one of the most repeatedly asked questions from part one. Other performance evaluation tools like you can know, that is NPV, net present value calculation, internal rate of return is considered while making investment decisions. Then obviously payback period. Payback period could be divided into discounted payback and normal payback. So these are the three other performance evaluation. If it is asked, you can write these points. Then highly repeated question is management by exception. So this topic is very repeated. I have seen it in multiple windows. A lot of my students have said this question. Out of the 12 question, every time in part one, there will be one question for management by exception and how it's going to affect the particular company or the particular decisions they made. So that will be based on the scenarios, but please note and study well about management by exception. Then there could be questions. Highly repeated question is flexible budget. Defining or definition of flexible budget is highly repeated. You have to study the definition. There could be different kinds of definition in each material. So you have to stick with any of the one material which you are studying and go with that. So while making or typing, answering these definitions, we have to make sure that you don't add any extra thing to it. Just write the definition as it is. Don't try to add and increase the number of words to make it more authentic. If it's provided in the test itself, you just have to go with it. That's like you have to by heart it and just strike it down. And there could be questions. What are the important features? You can answer when they ask for a definition. The definition itself, it's okay for the answer, but you can add a couple of features or advantages of flexible budgets. And there could be some question to prepare a cash budget or flexible budget. This could change. In some windows they ask flexible budget. In some windows they ask cash budget. So you should know you have to know every budget, how to prepare every budget, and what is the difference between each budget. What is the difference between a flexible budget and a standard budget? So those kind of questions could come. But while preparing these budgets, it could be time consuming. So you have to be very careful while answering this. You don't want to waste too much time for preparing any budget. So I will say answer all other questions and find time to prepare the budget in the last if it is asked in the exam. So that you don't lose time for other easy questions that you could answer in very short period of time. Okay. So it's very important. Preparation of flexible budget or a cash budget could be asked in your exam, and definition of flexible budget, standard budget or cash budget, those kind of definitions also should be given priority. Then from section C, you could get questions like material price variance, material quantity variance, or sales volume variance question. One question from variance analysis will be there. So you have to be very accurate with the equations while calculating the variance. So if there is a question for calculate the variance, that could be price variance or quantity variance, whatever it is, first you have to write down the equations. Equations is must. You will surely get marks for equations. So don't worry. write down the equations and then write down the steps and answers. So you will get each mark for all the steps you have written. Then why it is favorable or unfavorable? This kind of questions would come because when you calculate price variance or quantity variance, whatever the variance you're calculating, there will be some will be favorable variance, some will be unfavorable variance. So the question is why it is unfavorable or why it is favorable. That kind of questions. That is a practical question. That question is done to analyze whether you know the concept. You may by heart the equation. So IMA want to test. It's just not by heart. You should be thorough with the concept also. That's why they ask why it's favorable, why it's unfavorable. So a person could answer only why it's favorable and unfavorable. Only they know the concept. They could ask advantages of flexible budget. CMA exam usually asks for a couple of advantages or a couple of disadvantages. If you know more than two advantages or disadvantages, you can write if the time allows. But if you don't know anything more than two, just write the two. You don't overdo it because I may ask for two advantages. Then you have to just write the two advantages. Don't need to exaggerate it. So then after that, so these are some of the advantages. Okay, they ask for a couple of advantages. You can write up to 3 or 4 when the time demands, if the time demands. Then from regression analysis, so forecasting area, regression analysis is discussed in section B as well as in section F also, data analytics also. There could be some questions from the regression analysis equation, that is y is equal to a plus bx, the independent variable, dependent variable. So you have to be very well thorough of regression analysis and its equation. A stands for fixed component, B stands for variable component, X is the independent variable, and Y is the dependent variable. And there could also be a question from learning curve. Then from section F again, steps in data lifecycle. There could be a scenario in which the life cycle of data will be mentioned. Based on the given data, you have to guess or you have to answer which stage this particular data is going through. Data lifecycle starts from data capturing, then data maintenance, synthesis, analytics, usage, publication, and finally it will, as after archiving, it will come to an end with data purging. That is the data life cycle stage. So you have to go through that also. You can find the classes of these particular topics in my YouTube channel. You can go to the playlist section and find the classes of section of part 1. There you will get the detailed classes. Then there could be questions from inventory valuations under FIFO and LIFO. There could be questions based on what is the difference of valuation under FIFO and LIFO. That kind of questions would also be coming. Then a practical question like why an investor follows cash flow, income statement, balance sheet. What is the purpose? There could be a lot of reasons. So I'm giving just few reasons why an investor follows cash flow, income statement, and balance sheet. You can go through this. Surely I will share the PDF. Don't worry. Just go through it. And you have to answer like this. Why someone follow the cash flow statement? Why someone follow the income statement? Why someone follow the balance sheet? Answering like this will give you more exposure for getting higher marks rather than just simply presenting it in a very simple one paragraph. You can use the bold sign in the essay window. You will have certain facilities to make your presentation better, but only if the time allows, you go for that. You can underline, you can make certain points bold, you can make certain arrangements, but only if you have time, go for that. If you don't have time, at least write the answer first. Then if you have time, go for the makeup. Okay. So after that, another question that would be asked is benchmarking process. These questions will be coming in the later part. So in the IMS exam structure, there could be 6 questions from one essay. From one scenario, there could be 6 questions. So the first 3 questions will be a bit complicated or you need some more time. The last 3 questions will be the easier one where you could answer within a couple of minutes or 30 seconds. That could be like this. Define benchmarking, define flexible budgeting. These questions could be answered within less than a minute, maximum a minute. So you don't lose too much time on these questions. You have to strictly study the definition of all these important points. Okay. So these are the highly repeated questions from part 1. There are more also because over the years I have tried and tested numerous questions, but I'm just selecting few questions that could that have come in every Windows. The questions I have showed have appeared in some of the Windows in last year. So maybe one or two questions from this presentation could be there in the next window also. I'm not saying a guarantee. As in CMA we say, we don't say absolute assurance, we only say a reasonable assurance. So I am giving a reasonable assurance that some of the questions may come for your exams, but it's not a guarantee, it's not an absolute assurance. Make sure that, but you have to study. This is only an assistance. This doesn't mean that you have to study only this. You have to study everything. You have to prepare well. So prepare well and study well. Thank you for watching this video. We can do another session for part 2 as well if you're supporting. Thank you for watching. We will see you in another video.